World Development Report 2014. Risk and Opportunity. Best Practice Around the World with Jonathan Weiner, Professor of Law, Duke Law School.
Every country faces challenges in managing risk. In fact, human beings have always faced challenges in managing risk from the earliest days of deciding whether to hunt or flee from a dangerous animal. Now we face risks from natural disasters, pollution, disease, terrorism, and in each of those cases, we need institutions that are capable of assessing those risks, how serious they are, and managing them through good policy decisions, through choices of how stringently to manage each risk, and which policy instrument or regulatory design to apply to each risk. But the new frontiers of risk management are not only about how best to manage each risk one at a time, but about the reality that we face multiple risks simultaneously. And that means that we have to set priorities among those risks, how much attention or stringency to devote to one risk versus another. And we face trade-offs, where our actions to reduce one risk might change other risks, because these risks are interconnected. So, reducing air pollution might cause an increase in solid waste residues from the air pollution control technology, or reducing terrorism might cause concerns about privacy, or reducing exposure to hazardous chemicals might increase risks of traffic safety or consumer product safety from the substitutes of those chemicals. In each of those cases, we need institutions that are capable not only of managing one risk at a time, but of setting priorities and reconciling trade-offs. Further, we need institutions that can yield risk-superior moves, reducing multiple risks in concert. Countries around the world take different approaches to regulating risk, and in some ways that can cause conflict when they differ in regulations on products that are traded across borders. But on the other hand, it offers an excellent opportunity for us to learn from that variation in different approaches to regulating risk, because we can study how risks are regulated in different countries and compare the effectiveness or the side effects of those regulatory approaches. Some of the most effective regulatory systems, in my view, incorporate three key features. One is expertise. They draw on the best experts in science, social science, law, and policy to understand risks, to evaluate alternative approaches to risk, and to make the best decisions. Second, they draw on public input, because the experts, while highly knowledgeable, are not the entire source of the value judgments that need to be made in setting priorities or reconciling trade-offs. And third, they adopt coordination systems, because when we are regulating multiple risks through multiple government agencies addressing many different aspects of society, it's inevitable that there's going to be fragmentation, that some regulatory approach to manage one risk in one place may conflict with another regulatory approach to a different risk in another place, or that they may fail to learn from each other's experiences. So even within one government, we face the problem of multiple risks, multiple agencies, fragmentation. And this third aspect of coordination, of integrated risk management through an oversight system or oversight body at the center of government that can evaluate, keep track of, monitor, and oversee judgments across the entire regulatory system is crucial. There are important reforms that countries can adopt to improve their risk management systems, to make them both more effective at reducing risk and at reducing cost and avoiding unintended side effects. I think among the most important elements of these reforms are information and oversight. By information, I mean all the sources of understanding, scientific, social science, and others that help us anticipate the future consequences of current decisions. Now, on the one hand, there are sources from science, from universities, from businesses, from civil society and activist groups and government agencies that warn us of emerging risks. And those often give rise to a demand for precautionary policies that anticipate and prevent future risks. At the same time, governments are also adopting reforms to insist on impact assessment, environmental impact assessment, regulatory impact assessment, social impact assessment. And these are efforts to try to gather information to try to foresee the future impacts of these policy decisions. Sometimes precaution and impact assessment are viewed as alternatives or in opposition to each other, that precaution drives for more risk management or regulatory protection while impact assessment is a check. But I actually think that they are consistent and mutually reinforcing approaches to try to increase our foresight, our understanding of the future consequences of our current decisions. So on information, we need both precaution and impact assessment. As to oversight, because we face multiple risks simultaneously, we can't be precautionary about everything. We need to be able to make choices about priorities, and we need to be able to reconcile trade-offs. So one of the most important reforms that countries can adopt is some version or form of a national risk oversight body or national regulatory oversight body. In some countries, that focuses heavily on impact assessment. In others, it may focus on technology assessment. Those should be combined. And some version of a national risk board can be a highly effective method for governments to oversee the fragmented and sprawling regulatory system and to anticipate the complex mix of multiple risks that the country faces. Because we don't face risks one at a time, and because we have more than one decision-making body or regulatory agency addressing them, we need this kind of coordination. A national risk board can collect information about the variety of risks the country faces, help agencies coordinate and reduce unintended trade-offs, and adopt new frameworks for policymaking that manage risks in concert, reducing multiple risks at the same time.